Everyone says ego is the enemy. But if you don't have ego, you will stay broke, you'll stay weak, and you'll stay invisible. The truth is, ego is not the enemy. It's the source of every great man's rise. You don't become a winner by being humble. You win by believing you're destined for greatness, even when the world is laughing at you. Think about it for a minute, right? Just think about it. You've heard of the book, maybe you've read it. It's Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. And everybody is always on about how horrible ego is, how makes you so full of yourself, right? But again, I think people are misconstruing what having a big ego actually means, because I have a big ego. I'm very self-confident, and let's look at, maybe it's not ego is the problem, but it's arrogance. But then at the same time, you've also got to think arrogance might also be vital as well. So I think people are confusing ego with arrogance. So ego is a strong sense of self, belief in your potential, pride in your ambition, right? Arrogance is thinking you're better than others without having any evidence to back it up, right? And that's basically the main thing in this, isn't it? Right? Ego is, you have a strong sense of self, as I've said, right? So that means you think highly of yourself. You think you can achieve greatness. When you have a big ego, there's not really much that can stop you, right? But arrogance comes when you think you're better than everybody else, but you don't have anything to back up that belief. You get me? So arrogance is the issue here, not ego. And what I find very interesting, right? You should think that you are capable of greatness, of achieving greatness, because you are. Once you believe it, you can achieve it, right? And that sounds stupid to say and very cliche and whatever, but it's the truth, right? I know I'm going to achieve great things whenever that day comes, but it's just about staying consistent, isn't it? Right? So society demonizes ego because modern society wants you to be docile, wants you to be humble, wants you to be average, because that makes you easier to control, right? And that's why these stoic people and society, like you look at anybody you look up to on the internet, right? Maybe it is Ryan Holiday, and the media praises him. They love him. Just look him up. Everybody loves Ryan Holiday. Now look at other figures who aren't promoting similar things. They're promoting to escape. They're promoting to become the best version of yourself. And they're going to be criticized in the media because society is wanting to weaken the men of society. Because as I said, it makes you docile, makes you average, and it makes you easier to control, right? And they call ego narcissism. They call it toxic, right? But it's really just confidence. It's having high self-confidence. Being very egotistical is just about being fully confident in your abilities to go out and win, right? Think about that for a moment. Think about school. Were the ambitious kids celebrated or were they shut down? Think about anybody, even let's say when you were in school, you had visions of the future, of what you wanted to achieve. How many people told you that was stupid? How many people said to you, get back to reality, blah, 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 right? So it's all backed up, and it's quite obvious that people just do not want you to become strong. They do not want you to become uncontrollable, earning money so that you don't have to worry about anything, earning money so that all your family's taken care of, so that you don't have to watch what you say on the internet, so that you can say whatever you want, do whatever you want, right? And if you look around, it's quite obvious that every successful man has a big ego. Just think about that for a second now. Here's some examples. Muhammad Ali, Conor McGregor, Elon Musk. All of these people were delusional by societal standards. Their belief was delusional. Conor quit his job as an electrician, I believe, put everything aside, decided to go all in on MMA. And he was on his way up, and he kept running his mouth. He had a big ego, full of self-confidence. Everybody doubted him. Oh, you're beating nobodies. Then he fights Chad Mendes for the interim belt. He wins that. Nobody thought he'd win that. He won that. Then he fought Jose, and Conor's going to get destroyed. Everybody said it, right? Everybody said it. And then he beat Jose Aldo, who was on top of the featherweight division for over 10 years. Beat him in 13 seconds, right? Then, oh, it's impossible. You can't win a second belt. And he made a fool out of Eddie Alvarez. Muhammad Ali is arguably the greatest boxer of all time. He would have had to have delusion to have achieved what he achieved. Elon Musk is the richest man in the entire world. And he started off with PayPal. Worked his way up. Sold PayPal. Started Tesla. SpaceX. Neuralink. Now Twitter. And he's doing many other things as well. Right? But all of these people had one thing in common. They believed in themselves before the results showed. Right? And that's very interesting. You must believe in yourself before you get the results. Ego made these people take risks, work obsessively, and push harder than everybody else to prove everybody else wrong. And it wouldn't be stupid of me to say that without ego, they'd all be nobodies. They'd still be nobodies. You wouldn't know their name, you wouldn't know who they are, and you wouldn't know what they are. Think about that now for a moment, right? Because ego is pushing you to improve. It makes you hit the gym harder. It helps you build your business. You're not going to sit around and scroll all day. You know what I mean? Because your ego is going to sit there and say you're meant for more than this. If you don't have ego, if you're not delusional, you'll settle. And that's settling will be a thing I'll do in another video. But it's this idea of stick or twist. And I heard it a couple of years ago. And I reheard it again recently enough. And I started to understand it a bit more lately than I did before now. So I'm going to share it as a lesson here. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due. The first person to come out with that, right? But I'll do that video probably tomorrow, maybe not. We'll see what happens. I've a load of video ideas, so, because I'm learning a lot at the moment, right? So, yeah, so subscribe and stay tuned. Turn on those post notifications. Right. So false humility keeps you small, right? So stay humble is a term that's often used to keep you in your place. There's time and a place for humility. And again, I'm going to do another video on humility someday, okay? But most people use humility as an excuse to avoid growth. If you shrink yourself to make others comfortable, you're going to regret it, right? There's a reason that all these people have achieved such great heights in life, right? Because, like, everybody has their dreams, everybody has their aspirations, and if you are thinking of going for something and you don't go for it, and you let somebody else stop you going for it, not only will you regret that decision and wonder what might have been, but you're going to begin to resent that person. You understand me, right? And I'm going to give you an example, and it's not related, but it's about a decision I could have made a couple of weeks ago. And the opportunity presented itself on numerous occasions. And I had the choice to do it or not, right? And I chose not to do it. Which then I was sitting there on the train. You know, maybe it wasn't that close to the train or anything, but again, you have free time, you're sitting there thinking, and you're wondering what might have been. If I had went for that, what might have been different? And then you have to live with that, right? So yeah, you might regret the decision. I don't think you'll regret the decision, but initially you might have regrets that you took that leap of faith because it didn't work out, right? But at the end of the day, at least you know it wasn't going to work out. You know, and it's... But the reason I didn't go for that was because the doubt started to creep in. You know what I mean? The doubt started to creep in. So that's where the ego comes in, right? And I have a big ego. So, you know, there's always going to be times where you're going to doubt yourself and doubt whether this is going to work out, right? This is a side tangent, but it's important, right? Like, the doubt creeped in and I didn't go for it. And I had two opportunities across 2 different days to go for it, and I just didn't because the doubt was seeping in. And that's where this ego thing comes in, because my ego stepped in and I pushed it aside. And that's the worst thing you can do. Don't push it aside. Let it control the situation. Because, again, at least you will know. If an opportunity presents itself, take that opportunity. Be delusional. Be stupid. You know, actually take an opportunity if it presents itself to you. Because at least you'll know. If it doesn't work out, at least you will know. You won't be sitting there wondering what might have been. Because that opportunity might not present itself ever again. So, there's a little side tangent for you. But you need to control your ego, but don't kill your ego, right? So ego's like fire. It's powerful if it's used correctly, but dangerous if you let it consume you. When your ego is grounded in action, discipline and results, it becomes unstoppable. You're not above anyone, but you believe that you can be better than who you were yesterday, right? And again, controlling the ego, but also in times where it's needed, let it out. Because what's the worst that can happen? You know what I mean? Again, don't let it start a wildfire. But There's times where you can let it loose. And then maybe you won't have the pain of not actually knowing. You know. Yeah. I should take my own advice sometimes. So stop suppressing your ego. Let your ego drive you, fuel you, and remind you that you are capable of greatness. Don't listen to the average man. The only people you should listen to are people who are in the position that you want to be, or they have strong values and morals, and you know that they're not going to lead you astray. But the average person hates your ego because your ego is exposing their mediocrity. So, a little prompt for you. Obviously, as I said, keep up with the videos I'll be uploading. Subscribe, turn on post notifications, comment. Where have I been shrinking myself to fit in? There's a good journaling prompt for you. Where have I been shrinking myself to fit in? And sit there for 10 minutes, try and figure it out. If you can't figure it out, but I think you know. And just remember, ego is what's going to get you to that next level. It's the delusion that's going to make you reach heights that nobody else has ever seen for you. Also, one last thing. Here's a book for you to read. Cybernetics. So this book is one of the greatest books that was ever written. And basically, this book is about self-image. If you view yourself in a positive light, and that's what today's video was supposed to be. Maybe I'll do it again in the future. Who knows? But if you view yourself in a positive light, that fuels your ego to grow even more. And then that's going to help you even more than. And imagine if you already had a big ego and you read this book. And then you screw up like I did, not take an opportunity that presented itself. But you know, we're all human at the end of the day. And that's a life lesson. We're all human at the end of the day. There's occasionally going to be doubt. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. You're not going to take every opportunity that arises. And you're going to beat yourself up over that. But it's about moving on, figuring out from there. Okay, so I didn't take that opportunity. I won't pass up on it if it arises again. But, and here's the key thing, because you are going to beat yourself up over it, but view it as a way to succeed. So take it and look at, okay, so this happened. How can I stop that from happening again? That's the question you've got to ask yourself. So have a lovely day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And my usual quote, the only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing. Mwah.